Hello everyone, my name is Drew Sikkema and I did my research project on the Pony Express. What was the Pony Express and why was it created? The Pony Express was a transcontinental mail delivery system linking St. Joseph, Missouri to Sacramento, California. Beginning around the 1840s, America started to see a shift in movement to the west. Thousands of Americans were leaving the eastern states and setting course for the west coast. There were many reasons for this expansion out west, the main one being the California gold rush in 1947. Once word got out that there was a gold in California, people flocked to the west. In addition to this, the Oregon Trail movement and the Mormon Exodus in 1949 accounted for many of these people as well. Because there were so many people a considerable distance away from the seat of power in Washington, D.C., the need for a fast messenger system arose. The solution was the Pony Express. As discussed, the Pony Express begins in St. Joseph, Missouri. From there, messengers began their journey to the west coast. Traveling these far distances while facing many obstacles was very taxing, and messengers along with their horses often got tired. The Pony Express solved this problem by using a relay system. Every 10 to 15 miles, messengers would switch horses so that they could constantly be going the same speed, and so the horses didn't get too worn out. There were also checkpoint stations positioned along the path messengers took to Sacramento. In total, there were about 190 checkpoints. At these checkpoints, messengers could take a break, rest, and get some food. It was also at these checkpoints that messages being delivered would be transferred to another messenger. This adds to the idea of a relay system. By switching horses and messengers, communication between the east and west had never been faster. The reason the Pony Express was such a valuable asset during this time period was because of how fast it was. Before the Pony Express, mail traveled by steamboat or by caravan traveling over land. The goal for these steamboats was to deliver a message in 3 to 4 weeks. This deadline was rarely met, however, because steamboats had to travel either through the Panama Canal, which was ridden with malaria at the time, or around the southern tip of South America. To solve this, the government granted a $600,000 loan to a man named John Butterfield, under the condition that he could deliver mail from the east to the west within 25 days. He called it the Butterfield Overland Mail Company. This began in 1858 and took a southern 2,800-mile route from Fort Smith, Arkansas to San Francisco, California. However, the need for a more central route became apparent with the rising Civil War tensions in the South. Compared to these modes of transport, the Pony Express took just 10 days to deliver a message and took a 2,000-mile central route. William Russell, Alexander Majors, and William Waddell were the first founders of the Pony Express. The three of them together managed a freighting firm and had lots of experience with hauling cargo and passengers. They were also involved in a few small-scale government mail contracts. Their firm provided a mail delivery system between the Missouri River and Salt Lake City, Utah. It was because of this involvement with the mail system that Russell became interested in the idea of a horse relay system. He thought that the idea could attract a lot of attention and promote their company. Majors and Waddell were not as convinced. Russell decided to continue with his idea despite his partners and sought approval from the government. In April 1860, Russell opened a new business with his partners and called it the Central Overland California and Pikes Peak Express Company, which was the official name for the Pony Express. Russell was in charge of raising money in New York and political support in Washington, D.C. Majors managed the daily operations, and Waddell ran the home office. In the picture, William is on the left, Alexander is in the middle, and William Waddell is on the right. During this time, the call for help in the Pony Express was going out everywhere. They were in high demand for riders, builders to erect all the stations, and station managers, and they were paying $50 a month. They were looking for people who were familiar with horses and were between the ages of mid-teens to roughly 40 years old. Requirements included a weight restriction and an oath they had to swear by. Riders had to be 120 pounds or less and carry 20 pounds of mail and 25 pounds of equipment. The oath they had to take was this: while I am in the employment of A. Majors, I agree not to use profane language, not to get drunk, not to gamble, not to treat animals cruelly, and not to do anything else that is incompatible with the conduct of a gentleman. And I agree, if I violate any of the above conditions, to accept my discharge without pay for my services. When it came to clothes, Pony Express riders tried to dress as lightly as possible. In addition to a mail bag, Pony Express riders were required to carry only two things: a Bible and a gun. The gun they used was a Colt Model 1849 percussion pocket revolver in .31 caliber. The rest of their equipment was up to them. Pony Express riders faced many dangers on their travels. They had to cross through many Native American territories, which was extremely dangerous due to the many attacks by the Native Americans. Many of these Native Americans belonged to the Paiute tribe. Whenever these Native Americans saw Pony Express riders en route to their destinations, they would attack and try to kill them. This was because they saw Pony Express riders as easy targets. This made being in the Pony Express very dangerous. It was not uncommon for express riders to die or get wounded while making their deliveries. The real danger, however, was the weather. There was not a time of the year where the weather didn't pose a threat. In the summer, the high temperatures in the Great Basin Desert was unbearable, and riders could not bring large amounts of water with them due to the weight. During the winter, storms and blizzards blocked passes and made travel very difficult. It is recorded that deliveries in winter took an extra 2 days in addition to the 10 normally taken. One of the most famous riders for the Pony Express was Robert Halsum, often nicknamed Pony Bob. He was in charge of delivering messages in the Nevada Territory. He is credited for making the longest interrupted ride of 380 miles round trip. The journey started at Friday Station during the time when the Paiute Indians were attacking white settlements left and right. Despite this, Pony Bob made the journey when he was called upon. He made it to the next station, 60 miles away, safely. However, when he arrived, the horses were gone. A nearby town had taken them to help with defenses for an expected Native American attack. Because of this, he had to ride the same horse another 15 miles to where he was supposed to hand off the message to a new rider. The new rider refused to do it, so Pony Bob was given a bonus fee of $50 to do it instead. After arriving at Smith's Creek, he delivered the message and headed back the way he came. His greatest achievement was delivering Lincoln's inaugural address 120 miles while wounded in just 8 hours and 20 minutes. Another famous rider was Jim Moore. Jim Moore was a notable Pony Express rider who was in charge of the 140-mile stretch between the Missouri River and Denver, Colorado. He received important government news and rode 140 miles continuously to Old Julesburg, Nebraska. At this station, he was met by an eastbound messenger with important news. The rider that was supposed to deliver the message had died the previous day due to an encounter with Native Americans. Without hesitation, Jim Moore got back on his horse and left just 10 minutes after arriving. He did not even pause to take a break to eat. He covered the round trip of 280 miles in 14 hours and 46 minutes, with an average speed of 18 miles per hour. He later found out that his westbound mail he had delivered in Old Julesburg had made the trip from St. Joseph, Missouri to Sacramento, California in a record-breaking run of 8 days and 9 hours. Before its termination, the Pony Express made over 300 runs each way. This was a total of over 600,000 miles. In total, the messengers carried more than 33,000 pieces of mail. During all of these deliveries, only one piece of mail was reported missing. Another accomplishment of the Pony Express was delivering important news, such as Lincoln's inaugural address and news of the Civil War's beginning. When it finally came to an end, many newspapers paid tribute to the riders to show them their thanks. The Sacramento Daily Bee had the headline of "Farewell Pony," and saluted the wilderness-covering, swift-footed messengers. Despite all the intriguing stories and many accomplishments of the Pony Express, it only lasted for 18 months. It was formed in 1860 and was disbanded by October 26, 1861. The main event that led to the downfall was the construction of a telegraph line connecting Missouri and California. As soon as the telegraph was finished, the Pony Express was disbanded. The Pony Express made its last run on October 26, 1861. The memory of the Pony Express can still be seen today in books and movies, as well as museums and monuments. Some of these museums are the actual stations the riders used. There is even an annual meeting where the National Pony Express Association rides the same route in 10 days as the old riders used to do. More than 500 riders make the 2,000-mile journey. These are the sources I used. Many of these sources said roughly the same things about the Pony Express. Things like dates and specific times, as well as when it was formed and when it was ended, and why it was ended. The resource that proved to be the most useful was a brochure from the National Pony Express Association. Not only did it cover the same info as other articles, in addition, it had things like true stories and accounts from actual riders. Thank you all for listening to my presentation.